Tonight on Connecticut's news station, we're following breaking news out of Brooklyn, where one person is injured after a shooting involving a state trooper.
And a body found in a park turns into a homicide investigation. The update from police.
A chilly start to the day tomorrow, but temperatures warming up. We'll explain your full forecast coming up.
Plus, the Hartford taste returns.
You can go and support your old standby favorites, or you can discover something new.
The big boost it's expected to bring to local businesses.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. We start here with breaking news this evening. A Connecticut man wielding a knife was shot by a state trooper after they say he refused to leave his home in Brooklyn on a court-ordered eviction.
Yeah, this all going down this morning just off of Tiffany Street. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc joins us with the details.
State police got called to this street in the town of Brooklyn just after 9:30 to help out with a court-ordered eviction, and that is when things went south. And neighbors we spoke with say they're tired of seeing scenes like this in the area.
This world has come to nothing but violence.
Crime scene tape and police lights, something neighbors in this section of Brooklyn say is becoming a common occurrence.
I feel like I'm kind of being forced out because of the crime that's happening.
Felicia DeSalvio has lived on South Main Street for 2 years. In that time, she's seen a lot of crime.
I grew up where we could keep the doors unlocked, and I'm constantly looking out my window because I never know what's going to happen around here.
This morning, just after 9:30, DeSalvio was once again looking out her window as state police raced down the street. They were assisting a state marshal with a court-ordered eviction at 29 Tiffany Street.
Troopers arrived at the residence and advised Troop D dispatch that the tenant refused to comply with the court order and that he was wielding a knife.
Police say one of the troopers at the scene then shot the person, injuring them. The man was flown by Lifestar to UMass Memorial Medical Center in Worcester. Troopers say he is in surgery but is listed in stable condition.
This is a complex, ongoing investigation.
Troopers couldn't say much more, and neighbors are now left to wonder how this all happened.
It's just not fair, you know. It's not fair, and it saddens me. It really does.
Back in February, on the next street over, troopers found 2 adults and a child dead in a home. Neighbors say since then, things have gotten worse.
I just wish that they would fix this. Maybe there is no fixing, but it's so sad.
Now, police are not releasing the name of the trooper or the person who was shot in this case just yet. The Inspector General's office has taken over with this investigation, which is standard operating procedure. We have reached out to them and we're waiting to hear back. We are in Brooklyn. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you. We are following breaking news this evening where we're now learning new information regarding the death of State Representative Quentin Williams. House Speaker Matt Ritter released a statement earlier this evening that said the report on Quentin Williams' death would be coming out, and that report would indicate that Williams was over the legal blood alcohol level in the wrong-way crash on Route 9 that took his life back in January. Williams was hit by another driver who was going the wrong way on the highway. That driver was also killed in the crash. The toxicology report is set to be released following Williams' death. We've reached out to obtain that report to learn more about the case. We'll keep you updated as we get it. Also following breaking news tonight, a jury has found Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing advice columnist E. Jean Carroll in 1996, awarding her $5 million. The verdict was announced in a federal courtroom in New York City on the first day of jury deliberations. Jurors rejected Carroll's claims that she was raped, but they did find Trump liable for sexually assaulting her. Trump, who did not attend the trial, has insisted he never sexually assaulted Carroll or even knew her. Following the verdict, Trump released a statement reading in part, quote, "This case will be appealed and we will ultimately win."
Also breaking news out of New Haven, Yale police are investigating after a graduate student was sexually assaulted in their home. This happened around 2 a.m. on the 300 block of Elm Street. Police say the student woke up to a man pointing a gun at them, and then That person was sexually assaulted, we're told, before the suspect then fled. Yale police have increased patrols in the area and are helping New Haven police try to identify a suspect.
Advocates are speaking out in Waterbury tonight, concerned that officers are not following the police accountability law. Activists just finished up meeting with the police chief about what they're calling an alarming number of excessive force reports. Coming up at 6:30 tonight, Fox 61's Samaya Hernandez will break down what was talked about and the changes residents want from police. In other news, here, a shooting in broad daylight in the capital city under investigation. It happened just before noon in the area of Park and Lafayette Streets. Police say the victim, a man in his 20s, was conscious on scene and then taken to the hospital. At last check, he was listed in critical but stable condition. Neighbors say they're fed up with the recent violence.
Because you can't go nowhere now. I pray to just to come outside. Let's get these guns off these streets, please, because it's not a life for us to be living.
No word on any arrests or suspects. The shooting remains under investigation.
And new tonight, a man in serious condition after crashing into a pole in Manchester. Officials saying the crash happened on Wetherell Street. Police say a slingshot-style vehicle driven by a 36-year-old man hit a telephone pole. The driver was taken to Hartford Hospital, where he remains in critical condition. The road was closed between Bidwell Street and Cougar Drive for some time as crews responded to the scene. And Norwich police are still investigating the discovery of a body at Mohegan Park. Police say a person was walking through the park when they noticed something protruding from the ground on Sunday. Well, it turns out it was a person who died. Police say they do not know who the person is or how that person died. Well, Governor Ned Lamont is again pushing for his proposed tax cuts as state budget negotiations continue.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfforce joining us in studio now with an update. Emma?
Ben, Jen, those budget negotiations underway at the state capitol as the governor meets with legislative leaders from both sides of the aisle to hash out a final budget proposal for the state. And one thing everyone can agree on, tax cuts.
Usually we're talking about how much we may have to raise taxes or how much we have to cut spending in key areas. Now we're having a debate about how much additional investments we make in, say, education, and how big a tax cut we're going to have.
A historic surplus for the state, potentially leading to historic tax cuts for residents, something people have been waiting for.
Hoping, yes, maybe not thinking it would come to fruition. I don't know.
Tran is the manager of Adong Supermarket in West Hartford. Opened by his parents more than 30 years ago, Tran says these tax cuts would benefit his business and his customers.
It's enough breathing room to pay for their bills, feed their families without anxiety.
The governor's proposals include an increase in the earned income tax credit for low-income workers, restoring the pass-through entity tax credit, and the largest income tax rate reduction in state history.
The simplest, easiest, most effective way to make life a little more affordable is give you a broad-based tax cut.
Lamont says his proposal could save families upward of $600 a year.
I think it will help to lower our prices. And that way, more people shop, I think it's kind of like a circle, right?
Tuesday, Lamont urged the state legislature to adopt these tax cuts, which House Republicans included in their budget proposal. State Democrats scaled back these cuts slightly in their budget plan, something Lamont says will be a source of negotiations with the legislature.
There's a lot of, spoons in the soup stirring things up here right now. I think we're all pretty close.
And as the governor says, negotiations might be close, but they do have a ticking clock as that final budget needs to be approved by the end of this legislative session, June 7th. Jen, Ben.
All right, Emma, thank you. Let's get to the weather watch here. Another really nice day across the state. Sky 61 getting a look at the falls. The Brook Waterfall in Middletown today. Look at that.
A beautiful day to get outside and enjoy the fresh air out there. A little cooler than yesterday, right, Rach? But still really nice.
Yeah, a little bit cooler, but certainly not cold for this time of year. And the temperature is going to rebound right back into the 70s as we head through tomorrow afternoon. Right now it is 67 degrees in the Hartford area, and we are seeing blue skies. The New Haven area is in the low 60s. It will get a bit cooler out there tonight, though. I do think low temperatures will end up tumbling into the upper 30s to right around 40 for some locations. Here's a look at the difference from yesterday, anywhere between 6 to as much as 17 degrees cooler than it was at this exact time yesterday. But we are shaping up for a really nice night, whether you want to take the dog for a long walk this evening or open up the windows in your home, as long as you're not allergic to tree pollen, right? Near 50 degrees as we're gearing up for the news at 11. And here's a look at those low temperatures tonight, settling back towards 40 as we head into tomorrow morning. And again, there could even be some upper 30s. Tomorrow, we're looking at bright sunshine, high temperatures rising into the low to mid 70s as we head through the afternoon away from the Connecticut shoreline, although closer to 70 for the beaches. And there could be a bit of hazy sunshine from time to time. That's nothing to do with cloud cover, but has to do with wildfire smoke traveling all the way from Western Canada. Luckily, though, it's not affecting air quality, and meteorologist Ryan Breton will be along a little bit later to talk more about that. And I've got your forecast heading into the weekend coming up.
Sounds like a plan, Rachel. Thank you. New tonight, the Hartford Taste Festival is set to return to the capital city.
Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us in studio with how the event looks to support local businesses. Carmen.
Ben and Jen, the Hartford Taste Festival is set to return to Constitution Plaza on June 9th and 10th. The two-day event will host 30 restaurants and 30 musical acts across 2 stages, all to benefit Connecticut Food Share. This year's event will highlight a mix of new and returning vendors, including some that have received national recognition and many that are new to the scene. The event celebrating the diverse food here in Connecticut while also giving exposure to our local small businesses.
There are amazing restaurants that are out there. You can go and support your old standby favorites, or you can discover something new. But there's also a whole bunch of great arts, music, culture on display.
Folks are coming in over both days in the thousands and getting to sample some of our offerings. And that just kind of puts a toe in the water and lets them think about coming to the brick and mortar later, whether it be in downtown or any of the neighborhoods in Hartford. So it's great for all the small businesses.
The event is considered the kickoff to summer at Hartford, where almost every weekend will be filled with community events around the capital city. The Hartford Taste Festival is free to the public and will run from noon to 9 p.m. on both days. Ben and Jen, back to you.
Carmen, thank you. It's National Nurses Week here, and Hartford hospitals paying tribute to their healthcare heroes. They hosted a special celebration earlier today with live music from local performers and food, a photo booth, and comfort puppies. How could you go wrong? But they say the real celebration here is seeing their hardworking healthcare professionals getting the recognition and the break that they deserve, especially after pandemic burnout and struggling through all these staffing shortages. They're encouraging everyone to take time out of their day to say thank you to a healthcare hero.